The stars above the central Soreth command base flickered, but nobody noticed. Inside the war room, high-ranking officers of the Soreth Empire gathered around a large glowing table. On the screen floated a small group of ships, 12 in total. Odd-looking, ugly, human. General Jurak, tall and thick-scaled, with golden armor on his shoulders, let out a sharp laugh. That is Earth's answer to our warning?" he said, grinning at his officers. Commander Bellin frowned. "They entered the Forbidden Zone without a word. No warning, no declaration." "They are fools," Jurak barked. 12 ships cannot challenge the Soreth Empire." But something about the silence made Bellin uneasy. There were no radio signals, no requests, not even a demand for surrender. The human ships floated like ghosts just outside the planetary defense line. Jurak waved his claw. "Prepare the destroyers. This will be over in 5 minutes." Bellin nodded and tapped the command panel, launching Dreadwings Alpha and Beta. Captain Mara Lynn sat calmly inside the command core of HS Scarecrow 1. The lights inside the human vessel were dim. Her body was still, eyes closed, but her mind was somewhere else inside the ship's neural web. She wasn't just commanding the ship. She was part of it. "All units in position," came a soft voice in her head. It wasn't real, it was her ship's AI echo. "Enemy vessels activating. Do not engage until the breach starts," Mara whispered. "Understood." The Scarecrow fleet was not made for open battle. It wasn't built for numbers or firepower. It was made for impact, surgical, silent, and unstoppable. Every ship had only one mission. No more, no less. Down on the Soreth moon base, soldiers stood ready. The base was heavily armed, shielded, untouchable, or so they believed. "Contact in 30 seconds. A technician shouted, "Target the lead human ship." The base commander growled. On the surface, missile turrets rotated. Laser cannons locked onto Scarecrow 1. Sirens screamed. Screens flashed red. Then something strange happened. The human ship didn't fire. It moved fast. It broke formation and shot forward like a lightning bolt. But it didn't attack. It didn't even dodge the weapons pointed at it. It headed straight for the moon. Impact in 10 seconds. Someone yelled, "Shoot it down!" Screamed the commander. Lasers fired. Missiles launched. But too late. The ship slammed into the moon's surface. Not with an explosion, but with silence. There was no fireball, no shockwave. Just a ripple, a strange wave that passed through the entire moon. Then ... The base lights went dark. General Jurak stared at the screen. "What just happened?" He growled. Bellin's hands trembled. "The moon base, it's gone." "Gone? Not destroyed. Just offline. Like it doesn't exist anymore." Jurak smashed his fist into the console. "Send a scan." "We can't," Bellin whispered. "The system says the moon's data grid is corrupted. It's not even ours anymore." Suddenly, a soft ping echoed in the war room. "Sir," another officer said, pale and wide-eyed. "There's a signal, just one word." "From Earth?" "No, from our own moon base." The word appeared on the screen. "Checkmate." In the darkness of space, the remaining 11 human ships floated silently. "Phase 1 complete," Echo said to Mara Lynn. Mara's lips barely moved. "Begin the split." One by one, each ship turned and flew in a different direction. Jurak's eyes widened as he watched it happen. "They're spreading out." "Where are they going?" Bellin's voice shook. "Each is heading toward one of our key sectors." 12 ships? "That's all they have." "Yes, sir. But..." "The first one just took out an entire moon base. With no weapons." Jurak froze. He didn't know what was worse, the loss of a base or the fear growing inside him. In Sector 9, Admiral Corvain sat inside the command tower of a battleship. He had heard about the moon base incident just minutes ago. Now one of the human ships, Scarecrow 3, was approaching fast. "Prepare the defense grid," Corvain ordered. "No chances." But as the human ship came closer, something strange began to happen. Corvin's ship controls flickered. His officers shouted as screens glitched, lights blinked, and security locks opened on their own. "Sir, our system's been breached." "How?" "We don't know. The ship isn't even firing." Then a soft melody played through their speakers. An Earth song, slow and haunting. Corvain stepped back. "They're inside our systems, and they're playing music?" At Earth's hidden command center, deep under the Atlantic Ocean, Admiral Sarah Kwan watched the galaxy-wide broadcast. Other alien species had started tuning in, curious about the small human fleet. "They're laughing at us," her assistant said. "Even now." "Let them," she replied. "What if they strike Earth next?" "They won't, not if they understand." Understand? What? Sarah turned to the window, watching deep-sea drones move like shadows. "That we never wanted a war. But we won't run from it either." Back on the Sorith capital planet, fear spread. The Empire's communication towers started to fail. Their fleets couldn't coordinate. Power grids blinked on and off. Like dying candles. Still, not a single human word was spoken. Not a shot fired. In space. Just silence. Jurak gathered the last of his commanders. "Are we being invaded?" he asked. Bellin shook his head. "No, this isn't an invasion." "Then what is it?" "It's a warning." Inside Scarecrow 5, a small human ship near the Sorith food supply hub, the AI whispered to its pilot, "We can collapse their trade networks, shut off their factories, end their movement." "Do it quietly," the pilot said. "We're not here to burn them. We're here to teach them what fear feels like." And so the galaxy watched. Not as Earth destroyed its enemies, but as it unraveled them slowly, silently, and without a single declaration of war. Because the human fleet wasn't built to conquer planets. It was built to remind the galaxy, the size of your fleet doesn't matter. What matters is how you use it. Everything had changed after the moonbase vanished. No explosion, no remains, just silence. The Empire's top scientists replayed the footage 100 times. The human ship had flown directly into the base, but there was no fire, no debris. Instead, the entire moon systems went offline instantly. 1 second it was there. The next it was a cold rock. General Jurak paced in the war room. His heavy boots slammed against the floor. "Tell me something useful," he shouted. Bellin stood stiff, eyes on the hologram of the 12 human ships, now scattered across 12 different Sorith sectors. "We believe it was not a weapon, sir," Bellin said slowly. Jurak froze. "Then what was it? A virus, a deep one, not just software. Something physical and digital. It merged with the moonbase systems and rewrote them." Jurak's claws twitched. "So they destroyed it?" Bellin shook his head. "No, sir. Worse, they took it." Across the Empire, strange things started happening. In Sector 3, the defense satellites began spinning out of control. In Sector 5, factories stopped working. Their own machines started moving on their own buildings. Something else. In Sector 7, the entire communication grid collapsed. No messages in or out. It was chaos. And still, not a single human message. No orders, no threats. Just action. Inside Scarecrow 8, orbiting a Sorith gas station hub, Commander Royce sat in silence. His eyes were closed, his body wired into the ship. "Status?" he whispered. "Defense drones are confused," replied his ship's AI Vera. "They think we're part of their network." "Good. Begin infiltration." The ship sent a small, invisible signal, a kind of whisper made of math and light. It crawled into the Sorith system like a shadow. Within minutes, the gas hub's command center went dark. The lights flickered, doors locked, oxygen Systems shut off only for 5 seconds, but long enough to remind the crew someone else was in control. Back on the Sorith capital, the panic was spreading. Jurak slammed his fist into the table. "These are just 12 ships," Bellin spoke softly. "They are not ships, they are strategies." Jurak turned to the screen. "Then destroy them. We've tried. Every missile is redirected. Every tracking system fails. It's like they know what we'll do before we do it." In deep space, Scarecrow 9 hovered above a Sorith energy relay station. The pilot, Lieutenant Hanajiro, watched the swirling plasma storms below. "They think we'll attack their reactors," she said quietly. Her AI, Lyric, responded. "Then let's not." Instead, they broadcast a false signal mimicking the Sorith EMERGENCY code. Within seconds, dozens of enemy ships were called away to defend a fake location. Then, Hana released a single black pod dot. It drifted toward the station like a feather. Nobody noticed it. No alarms went off. It wasn't a bomb. It was a mirror device that copied every piece of Sorith code. It touched in 3 minutes. The entire station's control center belonged to Earth. Galactic news networks couldn't ignore it anymore. Sorith Empire, one of the most feared in the galaxy, was losing to 12 human ships. One anchor asked the big question on a live feed. How is this possible? They have no fleets, no armies. Just a few ghosts. The answer was simple. Humans were fighting a different kind of war. Not with strength. With understanding. In Sector 4, Admiral Vorix watched as his ships tried to corner Scarecrow 2. The human vessel just floated there, doing nothing. Surround it. Fire at will. He ordered. Missiles launched. But just before impact, the human ship vanished, not exploded. Not dodged out, just blinked out. The tracking system now showed the ship behind them. "Impossible," Vorix shouted. "That tech is illegal." Then came a message brief, calm and terrifying. "Your laws don't protect you from your own fears." The Admiral's hands shook. "Get me out of here." Jurak stared at the data stream. "We're being watched." "By whom?" Bellin asked. "By everyone." And it was true. Dozens of alien races were watching the Sorith crumble, waiting to see if Earth would demand territory or tribute. But Earth said nothing. The human fleet didn't even approach planets. They only targeted systems, the ones that made the Empire strong. One by one, those systems were falling apart. In a secret underground bunker, Jurak met with his most trusted officers. "We must strike Earth directly," he growled. "Find their home world. Show them fear." Bellin hesitated. "Sir, we don't know where. Their main command is. Their ships are not sending traceable signals. We think they're remote-controlled or AI-piloted." "Then destroy the ships." "We tried. Every time we get close, we lose control of our own systems." Jurak's voice turned cold. "Then we must learn from them. Think like humans." The room went silent. Blan finally spoke. "That's the problem, sir. We don't know how they think." Inside Scarecrow 10, orbiting the Sorith main data archive, a soft blue light glowed across the pilot's face. Captain Elias North smiled faintly. "Are they reacting?" "Yes," his AI Pulse said. "They've doubled their defense. Shields, locked down their AI systems." But what?" "They're defending against attacks we're not making." Elias leaned back. "They're chasing shadows." "Exactly." Then he pressed a button. Thousands of Sorith data files, military plans, fleet routes, secret messages were uploaded directly into Earth's secure core. No one on the Sorith side even noticed. The turning point came when Sector 2's capital shipyard shut down. Not from battle. From confusion. The workers reported that their tools no longer recognized them. The machines wouldn't follow orders. And strange Earth music played across every speaker. Jurak received one final report. "They didn't destroy our empire. They convinced it to destroy itself. That night, on the human ship Scarecrow 1, Mara Lynn finally spoke aloud. "It's time." "All scarecrows have completed their tasks," Echo replied. "Then let them see us leave." The human ships, one by one, turned and began to fly away, leaving the ruined systems behind. They didn't conquer. They didn't occupy. They didn't gloat. They just left. And in that silence, a wave of fear spread deeper than any weapon ever could, because the Soreth Empire now knew. The next time the humans came back, they might not be so kind. The skies above Sector 11 looked peaceful. The stars blinked quietly, and the planets moved in slow orbits. It was hard to believe a war was happening. But deep inside the Soreth command bunker, alarms blared like thunder. "They're here," said Commander Revik, staring at the central screen. "How many ships?" asked his second-in-command. "Just one," Revik answered. "Scarecrow 4. The officer raised his eyebrow. "Only one, against this entire sector?" Revik didn't answer. He had seen what the others had already faced. He had read the reports: moon bases offline, shipyards frozen, AI systems turned against themselves. Now it was his turn. The human ship floated quietly above the main energy planet. It didn't move. It didn't send a signal. It just hovered there like a ghost. No weapons glowed. No shields were raised. But everyone in the Soreth defense fleet was on high alert. Inside the human ship, Lieutenant Kasha Wren sat alone, her eyes fixed on the data stream. She didn't hold a weapon. She didn't even wear armor. Her body was wired into the ship's systems. Her mind was deep inside the AI web. "We've arrived," said her ship's eye shade in a calm voice. "Is the Soreth fleet reacting?" she asked. "Yes. They have powered up defense satellites, called 3 destroyers, and activated a planetary shield." Kasha smiled faintly. "Perfect. Let's give them something to fear." Down on the planet, Revik's hands were shaking. "Target the ship," he ordered. "Fire 2 warning shots." The massive cannons turned slowly toward the human vessel. 2 laser bursts flashed through space. They never hit. Both blasts stopped mid-space, then vanished. "How is that possible?" His officer shouted. "Our targeting systems are showing." "Nothing," Revik said. "The ship isn't even there." "But we can see it." Revik leaned forward. "We think we do." Kasha smiled again. "Shade, project the phantom image." "Already." "Active." What the Soreth forces didn't realize was that they weren't looking at the real ship. What they saw was only a light projection, an empty shell. The real Scarecrow 4 had already passed the outer lines. It was now sitting silently near the planet's central energy core, completely invisible. Inside the data core, something even worse was happening. Soreth scientists were gathered in their main control tower when the screens went black. "Is it a power surge?" one asked. "No," said the head technician. It's rewriting our code." "What kind of code?" The screen blinked, then showed a single line. "Your weapons belong to us now." Suddenly, the defense cannons aimed not at the human ship, but at each other. Panic spread. "Back in orbit," Kasha whispered. "Begin pulse wave," Shade responded. "Initiating now." A soft hum vibrated through space, a sound no Soreth ears could hear. It wasn't a sound meant for creatures. It was a wave meant for machines. In the command bunker, screens flashed red. Turrets turned. Drones shut down mid-flight. "Something is inside our tech," Revik screamed. "It's a virus." Someone yelled. Revik grabbed the table. "No, it's not just a virus. It's a weapon we can't touch." He realized, too late, that they were being attacked by something worse than guns. They were being attacked by silence. In another part of the Empire, Scarecrow 7 entered the largest mining colony in the sector. It didn't fire. It didn't land. It simply floated above the planet's surface and dropped several black cubes. Miners on the ground stared. "What are those?" one of them asked. The cubes opened. A mist spread across the ground. Moments later, every machine in the colony froze. The miners watched as their drills, bots, and loaders began working on their own, but not for the Soreth anymore. They were building something else. Something human. The Galactic Council held a secret meeting. One of the reptilian ambassadors slammed his fist on the table. Earth is using illegal tech. Prove it, replied the insectoid ambassador. Nothing they do is traceable. Our scans show no damage, no explosions, just systems going dark. They are not breaking laws, a calm voice said. It was the Terran observer. Everyone turned to look. You let the Soreth rule by fear for 100 years, the human said. Now fear has come home. Revik gave the final order. Detonate the shield generators. We can't let them take our planet. That will destroy the core. His officer yelled, We have no choice. If we don't stop them now, we'll have no empire left. But before they could act, every screen in the bunker froze. The image of Kasha Wren appeared. She said just 2 words. Too late. Then the shields powered down. The generators went quiet, and above them, Scarecrow finally revealed itself. On the human ship, Kasha disconnected from the AI. Mission complete, Shade said. No need to stay? No, they'll tear themselves apart trying to fix what they don't understand. Kasha stood and walked to the viewing screen. She watched the planet shrink behind her. No weapons fired, she said. No lives taken, Shade added. But a message delivered, Kasha finished. On the Soreth homeworld, Jurak sat alone in his chamber. No officers. No commanders. Just silence. He watched as the reports came in, sector after sector falling, not by force, but by confusion. Why? He whispered. Why didn't they just fight us like normal enemies? The screen flickered. A single message appeared. Because we're not like you. The human fleet had never come to conquer. They came to change the rules. To fight a war where firepower meant nothing. Where the loudest weapons made no sound at all. And now, the galaxy knew. Earth S. Silence was the most dangerous sound they had ever heard. The galaxy was still trying to understand what had just happened. 12 small human ships had entered enemy space. They had no large weapons, no armies, no big explosions. And yet, in only a few days, the mighty Soreth Empire had started to fall. No one knew how. No one understood why these ships were so powerful. All they knew was this. Earth had changed the game. In the Soreth Council chamber, panic filled the air. They've taken control of 6 sectors, shouted one ambassador, without firing a single main weapon. Cried another. Who are these humans? The Emperor demanded. What are these ships really made of? Number. One had the answer, because the real truth was hidden far away. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, in the silent Black Sea, under layers of rock and water, a secret facility sat in darkness. It had no name, no windows, and no exit doors. Inside, old men and women worked without rest. Engineers, scientists, soldiers, AI, developers. This was the heart of Project Scarecrow. It had started 20 years ago, after a failed treaty. After Earth's leaders realized one terrible truth. The galaxy did not want peace. They didn't fear humans. They mocked them. And Earth had no megafleets, no vast colonies. They only had one weapon left: the mind. General Aurora Graves walked through the long hallway, her steps slow and steady. She stopped at a large glass wall. Beyond it, 12 dark ships floated in silence. They're all active? She asked. Yes. Ma'am, her assistant replied. All linked to their pilots. Neural bond is holding. Graves stared at the ships. The galaxy wanted war. We gave them something better. War without soldiers? No, war without weakness. Each ship was special. Not just built with advanced tech, but connected to its pilot's brain. The pilots didn't push buttons. They didn't give commands, they became the ship, and the ships learned from them, adapted, grew smarter with every second in battle. The Scarecrow program had chosen only 12 people out of billions. All of them were orphans from past alien attacks. All of them had nothing left to lose. All of them had trained since childhood for one single purpose: to destroy any empire that ever tried to destroy Earth again. In a hidden classroom years earlier, a young girl sat with wires on her head. She was only 12. The AI instructor asked gently, "If a ship is stronger than you, what do you do?" The girl answered, "Don't fight its strength. Break its balance. Make it useless." "And if they beg for mercy?" "They won't." The AI paused. "But if they do?" The girl looked up. "Then you already won." Her name was Kasha Wren. Now she was pilot of Scarecrow 4. General Graves stepped into the command center. She looked at a giant map of the Soreth Empire. "They still don't understand what hit them," she said. One engineer nodded. "There. Computers can't track our movement. Their minds can't follow our logic." Graves placed her hand on the glass. "Because we didn't design our fleet for war. We designed it to end wars." In orbit above Earth, a small alien spy ship listened in. The Soreth had sent it days ago. It was still trying to crack Earth's language. Inside, the alien spy Zek wiped sweat from his forehead. His translator finally pinned green. "I've got something," he whispered. "Finally." He played the audio. All 12 Scarecrows are embedded. Deep code infiltration is a success. Enemy systems are fully mapped. Phase 3 is ready. Zek's eyes went wide. "What is Phase 3? He muttered. He leaned in closer. And then his ship lights went dark. Back inside Scarecrow 2, orbiting Sector 9, Captain Derek Vale sat in complete stillness. His ship's Ivy spoke softly. "An unknown vessel just attempted a signal breach." "A spy?" "Yes. Should we destroy it?" "No need," Ivy said. "I've already erased its memory. It won't remember it was ever here." Derek smirked. "Let them guess. That's the best part." The Soreth finally launched a desperate mission. A small team of scientists and spies were sent to Earth, not to attack, but to learn. They arrived in disguise, hiding inside a cargo ship. They wore human clothes, spoke perfect English. They walked among the people, looked at the cities, listened to the children, and what they saw terrified them. In a public school, a young boy was playing a strategy game. He used only 6 pieces against 50. Still, he won. The alien scientist watching him asked, "How did you do that?" The boy smiled. "I never play fair. I play smart." Another girl beside him added, "Our teacher says the biggest weapon is the one nobody sees coming." The scientist blinked. Even Earth's children thought like warriors, not with fire, but with silence. With strategy. With intent. In a hidden data vault, the alien spy team found an old video. A speech by Earth's late Admiral Juno. She spoke calmly, her voice slow but firm. "If they send 10 fleets, we send 10 minds. If they send fire, we send darkness. If they want to break us, we'll show them how humans were forged in fire, but learn to live in shadows." The alien team sent the file back to Soreth Command, but before it reached them, the message deleted itself. General Jurak stared at the blank screen. "Why? Can't we beat them?" He growled. Bellin whispered, "Because they built weapons we can't see, and trained warriors we can't understand. Then what do we do?" Bellin looked down. "Hope they don't come back." Jurak slammed his fist on the table. "We're still alive." "Yes, sir," Bellin said. "But for how long?" "Far." Above Earth, Scarecrow 1 floated silently, watching the stars. Mara Lynn stood at the window, her voice soft. "They still don't know why we stopped." Echo replied, "Because we didn't come for revenge." "No," she said. "We came to teach them what fear really feels like. And now? Mara turned, her eyes calm and steady. Now. We let them think. She sat down and closed her eyes. Behind her, the stars kept burning. Silent. And very, very far away. One empire trembled in the dark. The Soroth Empire had never known fear. For centuries, they ruled half the galaxy with an iron grip. Their warships were massive. Their armies were endless. They crushed planets, silenced rebellions, and erased species that refused to obey. But now fear had come, and it wore no armor. It brought no armies. It arrived in silence inside 12 human ships. Ships that didn't speak, didn't fire, didn't miss. Inside the Soroth Palace on the capital planet Varnak, Emperor Akron sat with trembling hands. He was old, but not weak. Still today, he felt powerless. His war room buzzed with confused officers. Sector 2's communication lines have failed again. One shouted, "We've lost another shipyard." Cried another, "They're using our own codes. We can't even trust our own systems." Akron slammed his hand down. "Enough. This is madness. Where are the enemy ships now?" Balin, his top strategist, looked pale. "They've gone silent again, Your Highness. We can't track them. Then how are they still attacking?" Balin said nothing. In a crowded market on Vornak, screens flashed with breaking news. Double quotes. Another blackout in Sector 6. Entire cities. Without power, no damage reported. Just darkness. People began whispering. Merchants closed shops early. Parents rushed children indoors. Lights flickered. Rumors spread. The humans are inside our computers. They can hear us. They're not soldiers. They're shadows. In secret, high-ranking families began leaving the capital. They used private ships, hoping to escape unnoticed. Some ran to other planets, some to underground bunkers. But they were too late. Every transport signal was already being copied. Scarecrow 7 was watching. Inside the ship, pilot Orion Trace spoke to his AI. "They're running." "Yes," the AI answered. "Fear does more damage than weapons." Orion gave a small nod. "Let's show them a little more." A harmless energy wave was sent. Not an attack, just enough to shut down the wealthy escape ship's engines mid-flight. Panic exploded across the planet. Back in the palace, Emperor Akron held a meeting with the last loyal governors. "Earth has declared war on us without words," he said. "They don't want our planets. They don't want our surrender." "Then what do they want?" No one answered. Then a quiet voice spoke from the corner of the room. It was Admiral Neelix, the Empire's oldest surviving fleet commander. "They want us to see what we've become." Akron turned to him. "Speak clearly, old man." Neelix stepped forward. "We've burned worlds, broken promises, made enemies of every race we met. So what? Now they're showing the galaxy that we can be defeated. Not with force, but with thought." In orbit above Vornak, Scarecrow 1 floated like a shadow. Inside, Mara Lynn watched the planet spin below. "Echo, is the capital reacting?" "Yes." Emergency meetings. Political leaders fleeing. Public fear raising. "Have we fired a single shot yet?" "No." Mara leaned back. "Then we've done enough." On the Soroth border worlds, rebellion stirred. Slave species, once crushed by the Empire, now began to rise. They weren't afraid anymore. "If 12 humans can make the Empire shake," one rebel leader said, "then maybe they're not so powerful after all." Fires were lit. Outposts were taken. The Empire began to crack from the inside. Desperate, the Emperor gave his final command. "Prepare the Doom Fleet," Akron said. Belen's eyes widened. "That's the last resort." "Yes," Akron hissed. "Send every ship we have. Every drone, every weapon. We wipe out Earth completely." "But we don't even know where their command is located," Belen whispered. "Find it." Akron roared. Inside Scarecrow 11. Captain Kayla Cruz received the signal. "They're moving the Doom Fleet. her AI reported. Kayla smiled. Time to show them their fleet isn't safe either. As the Soroth warships gathered, something odd happened. Navigation systems began to fail. The ships circled, confused, crashing into each other. Old coordinates changed without warning. Some ships disappeared into black holes. Others flew straight into asteroid fields. Sabotage, cried the Soroth officers. But it wasn't sabotage. It was redirection. The doomed fleet had become the lost fleet. On Vornak, riots broke out. Palace guards couldn't control the streets. People demanded answers. Where is our army? Why haven't we struck back? Are the humans already here? Then it happened. A human ship descended into the capital's upper atmosphere. It didn't fire. It didn't drop bombs. It simply hovered above the Emperor's palace. The sky darkened. A shadow covered the city. A message played across every screen. Not a threat, not a demand. Just a voice. You rule by fear. We don't. You used strength. We used silence. You burned planets. We changed minds. You thought you were safe. But now your people know the truth. The message ended. The ship turned and left. The next morning, Emperor Akron was gone. Some say he escaped. Others say he vanished, taken by the humans. But no one ever saw him again. The empire collapsed within days. Governors surrendered. Colonies broke free. Ships stopped answering calls. In a galaxy where fear once ruled, hope began to rise. 12 ships had changed everything. Without war, without blood, without a single direct order. Back on Earth, in the hidden command base, General Aurora Graves sat with her officers. They asked for peace once. She said. They refused, her officer replied. Graves nodded. Now they understand what Earth is. And what is that? Graves smiled. A quiet storm. The Galactic Council had always seen itself as the peacekeeper of the galaxy. It had over 100 member species. Its headquarters was built inside a giant hollow moon, orbiting the neutral planet Orsilon. Every decision passed through this council. Every war, every alliance, every trade route. And now, the council was shaking. The Soroth Empire, once the largest military force in known space, had fallen in less than 7 days. Without a single battle, without a single demand, fallen. To humans. Inside the council chamber, 12 delegates sat in a wide circle. Each one came from a different star system, representing their people. Some had long necks and blue skin. Others had wings, gills, or eyes like glowing stones. But none of them looked calm. The humans must explain themselves, shouted Delegate Korvax, slamming his 3-clawed fist onto the table. This is not just a warning, it's a message to us. Their methods were extreme, said Delegate Riva of the cloud-born Nerevans. Her voice was soft, like wind through trees. But they didn't kill, they didn't invade. Delegate Shuktor, a lizard-like warrior, hissed. They destroyed the strongest empire in the galaxy without firing a shot. That's more terrifying than war. Do we even know how they did it? Asked Chairwoman Valori, the head of the council. Her gray skin shimmered with nervous energy. Silence followed. No one knew. In a dark corner of the chamber, a human sat quietly. Ambassador Elias Ward. He had been Earth's only representative in the council for over a decade. Most ignored him. Earth was seen as new, small, and reckless. Now everyone watched him. Valori turned to him. Ambassador Ward, is your government responsible for the fall of the Soroth Empire? Elias looked calm. Not directly, Korvax growled. What does that mean? It means, Elias said slowly, we offered peace years ago. The Soroth Empire ignored us. They called us primitive. Then they attacked one of our research colonies. Near the border, Valori frowned. I remember. Your people asked for support. The council voted to stay neutral. Yes, Elias said. So Earth handled it alone. Shuktor narrowed his eyes. You call this handling it? Elias leaned forward. No, I call it preventing future wars. The council chamber buzzed with debate. We must sanction Earth. No, we must ally with Earth. They have weapons we can't detect. What if they're watching us now? Elias stood up. Counselors, Earth doesn't want to rule. We don't want war. We don't even want your respect. Then what do you want? Valori asked. Elias looked her in the eye. We want peace, but if peace isn't given, then silence becomes our weapon. Hours later, in a private meeting room, 3 council species gathered in secret. The Brolic, known for their stealth, the Drovan, masters of Data, and the Kareen, old enemies of Earth. This is dangerous, hissed the Kareen leader. If humans can break an empire without firing a shot, what will they do next? The Brolic clicked their mandibles. We must learn their secrets. We've been monitoring their ships, the Drovan said, tapping his wrist screen. They used a centralized command. No central fleet. Each captain acts independently. That makes them harder to stop. Exactly. The Kareen leaned closer. Then maybe it's time we stop playing politics. The next day, a Drovan spy ship vanished near Jupiter. 2 days later, a Kareen listening post on Mars stopped sending signals. By the end of the week, 3 Black Ops teams had disappeared near Earth's moon. The council was terrified. Chairwoman Valori met with Elias Ward alone. She served the council. But today, she spoke as herself. Elias, she said, are you threatening us? Elias didn't smile. No, I'm just here. Then tell me the truth. Why did your people really destroy the Soroth Empire? Elias looked at the stars through the window. Because they were already falling. We just gave them a mirror. And made the galaxy watch. Valori whispered. And what happens if the council becomes the next Soroth? Elias turned his gaze to her. Then we'll hold up the mirror again. Back on Earth, General Aurora Graves stood in the command tower above New Geneva. 12 captains joined her by hologram, 1 from each of the Scarecrow fleet. They're scared now, said Kayla Cruz. The council knows. They should be, said Orion Trace. They stood by while Soroth burned colonies and crushed systems. Mara Lynn added, they didn't care. Until it touched them. Graves nodded. Our job isn't to start a war. It's to make sure no one forgets what Earth really is. And what is that? Asked one of the new captains. Graves spoke slowly. A ghost in their systems. A question they're too afraid to ask. A fleet that doesn't need orders, because we already know what must be done. On Orsalon, the council voted again. This time, they voted with Earth. Sanctions were placed on remaining Soroth warlords. Colonies once abandoned were offered protection. Treaties were rewritten. Some said it was fear. Others said it was wisdom. Earth didn't speak about it. They simply watched and waited, because they knew the galaxy wasn't peaceful yet. Deep in a cold system, beyond mapped space, an old enemy stirred, watching Earth. Learning. And planning. But Earth already knew, and they were ready. Because silence was never weakness. It was just the beginning. They thought they knew what made humans dangerous. Ships that moved like shadows. Fleets with no leader. Soldiers who never panicked. But they were wrong. The real danger wasn't in Earth's weapons. It was something much deeper. Kareen commander. Zorvek stood in the cold lab, deep inside a secret base on the edge of known space. His scientists had just delivered their findings. So, he growled, tell me what makes humans so special. Dr. Reiko, a 4-eyed biospecialist, stepped forward. It's not just their technology. Not even their tactics. Zorvek narrowed his eyes. Then what? Dr. Reiko tapped the glass wall behind him. Inside, a frozen human floated in stasis. Pale, calm, sleeping. We caught this one during the Mars incident, Reiko said. He wasn't armed. No implants, just a civilian, or so we thought. Zorvek crossed his arms. And, Rakel's voice dropped. We tried everything, truth scans, pain triggers, dream codes. Nothing worked. His mind was too focused, too trained. Like he knew how to block us without even trying. Mind resistance? Zorvik scoffed. That's old tech. No, Rakel said, eyes wide. This wasn't tech, it was natural. Across the galaxy, back on Earth, General Aurora Graves met in a private room beneath New Geneva. Only 5 people knew the place existed. Report. She said. Dr. Milo Chun adjusted his glasses. The Kareen tried to copy one of our civilians again. But their clone failed within hours. Why? Chun looked nervous. Because they're still looking at humans like we're a regular species. They don't understand what's inside. U.S. Graves raised an eyebrow. Meaning? Chun walked to a screen. A simple diagram lit up. This is what the galaxy sees: bones, blood, muscles, nerves. But what they don't see is what we built over centuries. Pain tolerance. Mental. Walls, controlled instinct. Deep, learned resilience. Stuff we don't even think about. It's just part of us now. And they can't copy that? Not without becoming us. On a hidden Kareen ship, the captured human woke up. He said only one thing: you shouldn't have taken me. The guards laughed. 4 hours later, the ship was silent. When Zorvik entered the cell block, every guard was unconscious. No alarms, no noise, no weapons fired, but the human was gone. Only a message remained scratched into the wall. You tested the wrong one. The Galactic Council gathered in emergency session. Again. Chairwoman Valori looked pale. Her hands shook. Slightly. We have confirmed reports, she said, that Kareen agents have been trying to copy and control humans through genetic experiments. Shuktor growled. And now one of those humans escaped a Kareen prison ship without help? Valori nodded. Delegate Riva whispered, how did he do it? Elias Ward, the human ambassador, stood slowly. He looked at each face around the table. We warned you, he said. Humans aren't dangerous because of our ships or weapons. Those are just tools. Korvax barked. Then why are you dangerous? Elias paused. Then he said clearly and slowly, because we remember pain. We study fear. We never stop learning, even when we're dying. Zorvik was furious. His ship was in ruins. His crew was shaken. He called a meeting of his remaining commanders. The humans are hiding something, he growled. There's a secret we haven't found. His second-in-command, Vec, looked uneasy. Sir, what if it's not something they built? What if it's something they are? Zorvik hissed. Then we find it, we steal it, and we break it. He ordered a new mission: infiltrate Earth, not the military. Go deep, inside families. Small towns, farms, schools. I want to know how they raise such monsters. Meanwhile, Captain Kayla Cruz of the Scarecrow Fleet walked through the ruins of an old Earth training base. She was with a journalist from another planet, a Naravan named Alira, who had asked, what makes your people so calm during war? Kayla smiled. Because we grew up with storms. We learned to live with loss. Earth raised us on chaos. Now we carry it quietly. Alira blinked. That doesn't sound like training. That sounds like trauma. Kayla stopped walking. It is. The Kareen spy teams reached Earth 2 weeks later. They landed in forests, deserts, suburbs. They didn't find labs. They didn't find secret schools. What they found was humanity. A child helping a bird with a broken wing. A teacher staying after school to help a lonely student. A nurse working 20 hours straight without sleep. A father crying after a long night shift, but smiling for his kids at breakfast. The Kareen spies watched. They saw fear. They saw stress. But they also saw love. And stubbornness. And hope. They didn't understand it. They sent the data back to Zorvik. He didn't understand it either. Where's the weapon? He shouted. His agents answered. They don't have a weapon, sir. They are the weapon. Back in council, panic spread again. What if humans snap one day? What if they turn on all of us? Can we stop them? Elias Ward said nothing. He just listened. Until Valori finally asked him, "What is Earth hiding?" Elias smiled, but it was a sad smile. You all waited too long to ask that. Now, you'll never really know. Zorvek made one last plan. He would kidnap a human child, young, untrained, pure. Maybe then he'd learn the truth. His team chose a girl named Ava, 7 years old. Lived in a small Earth town. Kind, quiet, smart. They grabbed her one evening while she played near a lake. It was the biggest mistake they ever made. Ava didn't scream. She didn't cry. She waited. And when they asked her questions, she looked them in the eyes and said, "My mom says bullies are weak inside." The guards laughed. Ava didn't. That night, Ava slipped out of her cell. She used no weapons. She said nothing. She just left. 3 days later, she arrived at an Earth outpost alone, tired but alive. When asked how she escaped, she just said, "They thought I was scared, but I remembered what my mom said, and I stopped being scared." Back at Kareen Command, Zorvek was silent. One of his advisors whispered, "We tried to break them." Zorvek closed his eyes. And they became unbreakable. In New Geneva, General Graves held Ava's drawing given to her after she returned. Home safely. It showed the girl standing tall, while shadowy aliens ran away. Graves smiled. "They're still looking for our secret," she said quietly. "But they'll never find it, because it's not hidden in labs or weapons. It's hidden inside us." And somewhere, out beyond the stars, another enemy was watching. Earth. Still planning, still waiting, but they were already too late, because humanity had already evolved. And their greatest weapon was waking up. The enemy fleets had gathered. Hundreds of them. Ships shaped like claws, spears, and fangs drifted together outside Earth's solar system. Red lights blinked across the dark void like angry stars. The supreme commander of the Kareen War Force stood on the bridge of his massive dreadnought. His name was Zorith, and his voice was cold as ice. "This time," he said, "no more tests, no more spying, no more patience." His second-in-command, Vec, looked unsure. "We already failed 5 times, Commander." "Are you sure this?" Zorith cut him off. "I don't care what happened before. Humans are scattered, emotional, weak. But we overwhelmed stronger worlds, and now we end them." He turned to his generals. "Burn their skies, cripple their planet. Show no mercy, because they will show none." The order was given. The invasion had begun. On Earth, the skies were clear. Children played. People worked. Most didn't even know what was coming, but an orbit hidden behind Earth's shadow waited. Something the galaxy had never seen. A fleet with no name, not marked by flags, not listed in any database. Each ship was black as midnight. Silent, still. They had been waiting for this day. Inside one of them, Captain Rhea Talon watched the enemy approach. "They're making a mistake," she said. Commander Fisk nodded beside her. "They think we're soft because we didn't strike first." Rhea gave a cold smile. "They forgot why we don't strike first." As the Kareen Armada entered the system, they met no resistance. No missiles. No warnings. Just silence. Zorith laughed. "They've given up already." But then something changed. One of his captains shouted, "Commander, we're losing long-range signal systems are blinking out." Another yelled, "There's a field, some kind of dark net. They're jamming us." Zorith growled, "What field?" Before anyone could answer, dozens of the Black Earth ships lit up. No words. No threats. Just pure, coordinated fury. The first Kareen dreadnought exploded before it could fire a shot. Back in the Galactic Council, the news came fast. "Earth is under attack," said a nervous official. Kyrene forces launched a full-scale invasion. Council members gasped. Some cheered, others panicked. But wait, said a voice in the back. Earth's already fighting back. Ambassador. Elias Ward stood slowly. He placed a small data chip on the table. It showed live footage from Space Kyrene ships burning. Cracking. Fleeing. The room fell silent. They came, Elias said. But they weren't ready. Chairwoman Valori whispered, How is this possible? They outnumbered Earth 10-1. Elias looked her in the eye. You all still think it's about numbers. It never was. Zorith was furious. 3 of his biggest warships had been wiped out in less than 20 minutes. They're not following any known combat pattern. Vex shouted. They don't have one, Zorith growled. They are the pattern. He turned to his crew. Change tactics, hit their flanks. Target their engines. But the Earth ships didn't have a flank. They moved like birds in a storm, twisting, rising, diving. One Kyrene ship tried to escape. It blinked into hyperspace, never came back. They were being hunted, on Earth. Deep inside a control bunker, General Aurora Graves spoke calmly into a headset. They're breaking. She said, Yes, ma'am, came the reply. Graves nodded. Good, let them run. A pause, then she added, But not too far. The Kyrene forces tried to retreat. They ran toward their own space. But Earth's dark fleet followed. Not to destroy cities, not to conquer planets, but to make one thing. Clear. Never. Attack. Earth. Zorith. Made it back to Kyrene Prime, with only a third of his fleet. He looked older, weaker, terrified. He gathered the ruling lords. They knew we were coming, he said. They didn't even blink, Lord Maru scoffed. So we rebuild. Launch. Again with more ships, more. No, Zorith whispered. You don't understand. He held up a single image. It showed a human pilot. Blood on her face. Eyes calm, smiling. She smiled as her ship crashed into mine. Maru frowned. So, you've seen suicide tactics before. She ejected seconds before, watched her ship destroy us. Then drifted back into formation. Zorith looked at them all. They don't fear death like we do. They understand it. That's what makes them unstoppable. In council, the debate had changed. They were attacked and won. They didn't ask for help. They didn't ask for anything. Valori turned to Elias Ward. Will Earth strike back now, conquer the Kyrene? Elias shook his head. We don't need to. Then, what will you do? He looked out the window into the stars. We'll remember. Later, on a small Earth station orbiting Mars, a new pilot arrived for duty. She was young, barely 20. Her name was Ava. The same girl once taken by the Reen. Now grown up. She looked at the stars. Then, at her ship. She smiled. Let them come again, she whispered. We're ready. A nearby tech laughed. Think they'll try? Ava stepped into the cockpit. They weren't ready last time, she said, voice cold. Then added, and they never will be.